What's good, everybody? Welcome back to episode 28 of Stack Sats or Die Trying. That's right, I said welcome back because I had a couple weeks off, on my little hiatus, man. But listen, man, I miss doing this. I miss going on my ramblings about Bitcoin. And for those who don't know, Stack Sats or Die Trying is the Bitcoin only show brought to you by the Hood. I'm your host as always. My name is Jimmy, and back in the mix, talk a little bit about Bitcoin. Been traveling, working like crazy, putting a lot of plays together. But I definitely want to make sure I come back and get to pontificating about Bitcoin as I do on this show. This is like, one of the favorite things that I do because, I spend most of my days studying Bitcoin. So this gives me an opportunity to talk about my thoughts, ideas, and just some of the things that go through my mind as I look at the landscape for Bitcoin and what's going on in the Bitcoin universe. So, man, I got so much that happened since that time. But let's get into this though. I got a little slideshow, not much, but just a little slideshow to kind of get some of my thoughts across. And by the way, I want to say thank you to everybody who reached out and said, yo, when is the next Stack Sat show coming? Because folks like it. I will respond to every email. I know I missed a couple emails. I missed some comments on the YouTube channel, but I literally been, on the run eating, as Nori would say. Had an amazing time in Colorado, speaking at the conference there. I was so busy, I didn't even get a chance to attend the Black Blockchain Summit. I was invited to speak there as well, but I didn't go because I was in Baltimore handling some other business. But also, we'll be in Amsterdam in this December, but that we'll get into that in a later episode. But right now, I want to talk about what I want to talk about, which is stacking these sats. You dig? Like, we still all about stacking sats on a daily basis. Stack sats or die trying. With that being said, though, man, this is episode 28, the Marshall Falk episode of Stack Sats or Die Trying. So we're gonna talk about it, man. You see the little the thumbnail for this episode, main man sitting in his office with the Bitcoin in his hand, with the real estate behind him, and we're gonna talk about why that is the actual icon or thumbnail, shall I say, for this episode, man. Just some thoughts that I got about Bitcoin and real estate. A lot of my talk always comes from the perspective of real estate, because I am a real estate professional. But I believe that Bitcoin is the greatest single asset, is the king of all assets, and I've told why 27 straight episodes. So I'm not going to get into that, but a lot of thoughts that have been going around, man. So I got some tweets that I pulled off Twitter. I'm always on Twitter looking at what some of the people within the Bitcoin community think and what they say. But this is for educational and informational purposes only. This is not investment advice. The name of the show is what it is. If you can't read through that, then it is, I'm just telling you, I'm not telling anybody what to do with their money. I do not represent you as your fiduciary in any way, but we're going to talk about some stats, man. The first thing I want to talk about is this, man. Shout out to the brother CJ Johnson, man. I see a lot of his posts. My man is going full Bitcoin maxi as he should, but he put up a post that I found interesting, and I'll read it out loud for those who are listening to the audio. Also, shout out to all the audio listeners of Stack Sats or Die Trying. Hopefully, you're in the gym or in your car listening to me talk about, stacking these sats. And when you finish doing whatever it is you're doing, you go stack some sats. If you do, one of the best places to do that is Fold, by the way. Side note, you can, sign up for Fold by using the link in the show notes of the description. Fold is the single greatest Bitcoin company. If you don't know why I think so, couple episodes ago, I did a whole show on Fold, and Fold has gotten even better since then. Fold continuously adds new services and products, man. But this is not about that. The brother CJ Johnson put out a tweet that says, you don't need stocks, real estate, or side hustles. Make money doing something you enjoy and store your wealth in Bitcoin. Use all that extra free time you save by not having 30 side hustles to grow a family, get in shape, and enjoy life. Man, that's a lot right there. And I'm explaining to you why that's a lot. Because most people look at Bitcoin as an investment when Bitcoin is really savings. So that's kind of, within his comments, it's kind of, what he's saying. But also the thing about learning Bitcoin, studying Bitcoin, and understanding Bitcoin is Bitcoin gives you freedom. Bitcoin is literally freedom, because when you stack your savings in Bitcoin, what you're doing is you are stacking your time. When you go to work, you exchange energy and time for value. You put that value in Bitcoin, and now your value and energy is not being deflated the way that your money is when it's in cash because of, inflation and consistent money printing. So if you think about what he's saying, look, you don't have to do all the other stuff. Just put your money in Bitcoin and your money is going to preserve its wealth. Therefore, you can be able to buy things in the future. Everything gets cheaper when compared to Bitcoin. Talked about that in the previous episode. But what he's saying is we spend so much time with all these side hustles and these running of the plays that we don't really just focus on what's important, which is family, health, and, doing these kind of things that, you got to do in order to maintain, right? So this is what he's saying here. So, just wanted to start the show with that. Now I'm going to get into, another thing that I saw that I thought was interesting, which is going to lead me to my overall point. Just, flow with me real quick. I'm getting there. But shout out to CJ Johnson, man. He puts up a lot of great information about Bitcoin. Anybody that I bring up their tweets or whatever on this show, go give them a follow. Go see what they're talking about and all that. But let's get to it though, man. This came from someone on Twitter known as @BTCMaxi_SG. He says, some ask, why stack Bitcoin if we don't spend it? Well, many of us use it as savings account. Instead of saving in cash, like a melting ice cube due to inflation, or stocks with an excess monetary premium, or bonds, don't want to be the last one holding these, or gold, unknown in total supply stored in vaults, ideal for the creation of paper gold by dishonest vault owners, or real estate, it's really a headache due to property tax and the effort to maintain, or expensive cardboard like Pokemon, Magic cards, baseball cards. This is really absurd if you think about it. Or sneakers, or other collectibles. Instead of the above, we save in BTC, which has a cap of 21 million. Note, the above methods of saving have gained popularity because money has been broken for a long time and people are forced to save in unconventional ways. So that last part kind of brings it all together. The reason that we invest and put our money in other places is because our money is broken. Once we understand that our money is broken and consistently goes down in value, you realize you have to do something. But a lot of times we take all kinds of unconventional things. I remember I read a story once about someone saving like Big Mac coupons because they actually were a better store of value than money. We've tried all kinds of things. The reason that real estate has the value it has is because of scarcity and because it's become an investment vehicle. People have poured billions and billions of money, put billions and billions of dollars into real estate and gold bars and things of that nature because they need something to preserve their time and energy. But now we have something better than both of those, which is Bitcoin, which leads me to this, right? So the time I was missing, I did a lot of things that, are relevant to this conversation. One is this. Everyone knows if you watch this show that I am not anti-Bitcoin ETF like some people in the Bitcoin community are. I do stack IBIT as well as Bitcoin. Do I prefer actual Bitcoin? Absolutely. Do I still buy IBIT? Absolutely. Here's why. I'm transitioning from real estate, from being a landlord who's just like, taking value from properties, to actually adding value to neighborhoods by being a developer. Where I'm coming in, developing properties, helping someone else become landowners, and creating value that way, taking that value and putting into BTC. So I'm still looking for real estate deals, but just as a way to stack more sats. That's a huge distinction. I'm not looking to do deals now to, get a little bit of cash flow every month from rentals or, do quick flips so I can take that money, do more quick flips. I'm looking to create value to stack sats. I say that to say this. Here is something that I just recently done. Since last time, I came on the show. I went to the auction in Philadelphia, bought a property in Germantown. Shout out to everybody in Germantown, or those who know about Germantown. What I did was I used the IBIT that I had in my brokerage account. I got a margin loan against the IBIT. I went then and bought a property, refied, paid off the margin loan. Now I own the property. I still own the IBIT. And when I finished developing this property and putting it on the market and then making profit, part of that profit, well, all of the profit actually will go back into IBIT, rinse, repeat. So I know I went through that really fast and I can break it down in a future episode, or if someone wants to go one-on-one, I can show you exactly how to do so. We're thinking about creating a membership on our YouTube channel to do some one-on-ones and things of that nature, because we're just transitioning our YouTube channel, and I talked about that in our last Friday Live. To kind of provide more value to the community. But I'm gonna say it again, exactly what I did. I took the IBIT, which is the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF, right? I leveraged it by getting a margin loan to buy a piece of property, refi, pay the loan off. Now, when I finish developing this property, creating value through real estate, I'm going to sell the property, take the profit, buy some IBIT, rinse, repeat, go find another deal, right? This will help me get more sats. In fact, what I'm probably going to do, because the loan is paid off, I'm going to take half of it and probably buy actual sats, the other half buy more IBIT, so then I can do bigger deals in terms of leveraging IBIT. One of the reasons I decided to do it this way is because I was thinking I would rather leverage IBIT than to try to get a Bitcoin loan for a couple of reasons. The Bitcoin loan market is not mature enough to get competitive rates. Also, I don't want to put my BTC at risk. I believe BTC is the most valuable asset there is. So I don't want to put any of my sats at risk. Paper Bitcoin, a little bit different. I think IBIT has value because it represents Bitcoin, but it's still paper Bitcoin. But this Bitcoin exposure from a TradFi standpoint opens up so many windows. And it opens up so many windows because now I figured out how to fully commit to the Bitcoin space in a way that I've always wanted to. And I talk on here about being simplifying my investments. Like all my investments at this point, I have a little bit of the S&P 500, single family residential real estate, and Bitcoin. And I have Bitcoin represented in multiple ways: actual sats, IBIT, MicroStrategy shares, Fold shares. Now I got Fold shares. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I own some Square too. And I think that's a Bitcoin company. So Block Inc., Fold, MicroStrategy, IBIT, actual Bitcoin, a little bit of the S&P 500, and residential real estate. My whole portfolio right there. Boom, just gave it to you. But using this margin loan has been a game changer and eye-opening for me, right? So I'll be completely honest. I've been blown away and inspired by the work that Michael Saylor has done in the Bitcoin space, and kind of like his financial engineering in order to achieve the ultimate goal, which is to stack more sats. I looked at how I operate, how I create value, how I make money to take care of myself. And I said, how can I do something similar? This is one of the strategies I came up with. Leverage paper Bitcoin, right? Create more value, buy more paper Bitcoin, but also buy more sats. So this whole objective is, running this specific play is to get more sats. That is the ultimate goal within doing this. Now, the other part, which is interesting, is this is a complete game changer, and I'm going to share with you guys, which is this. The SEC approves options trading on BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF IBIT. To me, this is one of the biggest news in the history of Bitcoin, and not too many people are talking about it because most Bitcoiners, let's be honest, they don't like paper Bitcoin. They don't like IBIT, and I understand why. When I was in the gold space, people hated GLD. You had to have the physical gold, right? If you don't have it, if not your keys, not your coin, if you didn't have the physical gold, do you really own it? I know all those things. But as someone who comes from the space of having a securities license, working in TradFi, understanding how products work, even if my ultimate goal is to say get actual Bitcoin, or if I was talking about gold, to get actual gold, if I can navigate within these waters, it just makes the amount of actual Bitcoin or actual gold that I get rise exponentially. I don't have to do it the traditional way. I can just supercharge it. Here's why this to me is a game changer, because one of the strategies I use in the options game is to run cover calls. If they get, now not if, but when it starts, I can run cover calls against my IBIT, which will allow me then to use my paper Bitcoin to also create a cash flowing machine. One of the reasons that people are in real estate is for the cash flow on a monthly basis. And the reason they talk about other assets, it doesn't produce cash flow. The reason you know about gold, it doesn't produce anything. This will enable me to use IBIT shares to literally create rent. I can replace rent with IBIT shares, right? By selling cover calls. I mean, this to me is a complete game changer. It's going to change how I operate everything, really be dedicated to Bitcoin in the way I want to. I can create cash flow through cover calls with IBIT, right? I can leverage that same IBIT to then do deals in real estate to end up buying more sats. I can stack IBIT as a way to just be a placeholder for, my physical or actual, shall I say, Bitcoin. But all the ultimate goal is to get more sats, to get more Bitcoin. But this right here is a game changer. Do I think most people should do it? Absolutely not. If you don't know how to trade options, or you don't know how to run the wheel strategy with options, please leave this alone. Please leave this alone. Let me get on my Umar drone. Please leave this alone. But if you do have an understanding of how to do so, and you do want to focus specifically on Bitcoin, this is life-changing for me. I don't know how to express how life-changing this is. It's so life-changing. I want to, in the midst of everything, I'm like, yo, I got to get back on and do a show, because the options game provides income in various ways. Also, this will allow me to kind of lever up. And if I didn't want to buy IBIT shares, I could buy Leaps. But guess what I also could do with Leaps? Now, this is getting a little bit technical and a little bit deep. I could buy Leaps on IBIT and then sell cover calls against said Leaps. So now I'm leveraging the amount of IBIT I have. Instead of just buying a share, I can buy a Leap contract and print money off of the Leap contract. By the way, for those who haven't watched our Friday show, because I talked about it there, this is an excellent book about buying Leaps. It's called Intrinsic. I'll put this here so you can see exactly what the book looks like. I talked about this on our Friday show, but the book is called Intrinsic, and the author's name is Mike Wynn. But it's a great strategy on buying Leaps. The book is called Intrinsic. And some of the strategies talked about in this book, I will be doing with IBIT. I promise you. I've already been doing it with Riot or Mara or MicroStrategy, but now I'll do it directly with IBIT. So again, Intrinsic, the book, I'm not getting paid for that. It's not a sponsor. I just think it's a valuable book. But this is completely game changing for me. This will allow me to create rent from my Bitcoin, right? So now a lot of friends who are in the real estate space, my colleagues, when they start talking about the rent they're getting from their property, I'll be getting rent from my Bitcoin without dealing with taxes, tenants, and toilets. Repeat that again. I'm going to get rent without dealing with taxes, tenants, and toilets by holding the world's greatest asset, focusing on that asset, having Leaps against IBIT. So this is completely game changing, and being able to leverage that to buy physical property, to rinse and repeat. Listen, this is what a time to be alive. That's all I can say. I'm really lost for words, because for me, this is a big deal. I know for a lot of people that they can care less and they don't see what actually happened. And I know that because most of the Bitcoin channels and things that I watch, I consume a lot of Bitcoin content. I listen to podcasts. I'm on Noster. So it's like I consume a lot of Bitcoin content. No one's really talking about this. And I know why. Most people hate IBIT. Most people in the Bitcoin space, a lot of them are anarchists and just don't believe in anything that's traditional or institutional. But when you understand the money that flows through institutions on a day in and day out basis, like too much money flows through there for me not to get my piece. I need mine. So shout out to BlackRock, man, because I know that people hate them for, the perceived power they have in the world. I shouldn't say perceived, they do have power, right? But the whole idea of them owning the world is kind of shouldn't say right? Because they have control with ownership. I don't know about conspiracy bag to some of the things, but people kind of in a weird way. But you put out there, BlackRock owns it, and a lot of people are saying about that. Our voting shares, giving control two different things. But we could talk about that another time. But the point is, I think they're positive for Bitcoin. I had a gentleman who was a very wealthy man, and one of the things he told me, I think I mentioned on the show before, that BlackRock getting in Bitcoin pretty much assures that Bitcoin can never go to zero again. But BlackRock having options is literally life-changing for me, myself personally. Anyway, that was a Harlem Nights rap for those who didn't get that. But anyway, with that being said, man, Bitcoin continues to be the king of all assets. And I mean all assets, even my beloved real estate, the stock market, whatever. There is no need for me to do anything else at this point. On the stock market, my stocks can be represented by Bitcoin. I can use Bitcoin to create monthly. I can use Bitcoin as a tool to leverage to buy real estate and be my own bank. I'm using Bitcoin in all the ways that it can be used. And it's very exciting. I'm very ecstatic. And if somebody would like to get more information about how to do any of the things that I talked about, please, please, please reach out. Leave me a comment. Let me know. Corey and I are in the process of setting up a membership. We were thinking like maybe we do it right here on YouTube instead of the whole Patreon thing. We're not trying to make a bunch of money. We're just trying to spend time with folks that want to learn from our experiences in a different way. We were doing the MDC and we kind of decided to end that at this current moment because we want to like just refigure out how to add value. We never want to just extract value. We want to do nothing but add value. And we're figuring that out now. But I know that I'll get some questions in my inbox. Sometimes folks won't leave a comment, but when they see this episode and they see what I'm talking about, if they fully can comprehend and understand what I'm talking about, you'll be just as excited as I am. I am so excited right now because this allows me to hyper focus and create revenue, cash flow, and just build things and add value to the world instead of just extracting value. Not that I have anything against landlords or what have you, but I think this just changed. This is life changing for me. Figuring out how to leverage paper Bitcoin, but now being able to create what I call rent without taxes, toilets, and tenants. Without the 3 T's, I'm going to create rent. This will be better than a REIT. This will be better than physical real estate. This will be. Listen, man. Anyway, man, I'm so giddy right now that I'm talking kind of crazy, repeating myself, but it's for a reason, and you shall see, man. What a time to be alive. I appreciate everybody who made it this far through the video. Subscribe, like, comment, do all the great stuff. Leave me some feedback. Tell me how you feel about what I said. Do you fully grasp what I'm saying? Do you need help understanding what it is I'm saying? If so, we're here for that. This has been another episode of Stack Sats or Die Trying. Friday will be live, Friday, 7 p.m. on our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook page, talking about everything that's going on in the world. But, the one thing you got to remember, no matter how many episodes you watch, is that, get out there, create value, and never forget, always stack sats or die trying. Peace.